And this is how I will fix the Turco-Greek border disputes.
Anyways, have you seen the latest DHAR MANN video?
Bro, you watched DHAR MANN? That terrible channel is only for 14-year-old investors.
Yeah, I love watching him. And I even bought some of his DHAR coin.
DHAR coin? What kind of nonsense is that?
It's a highly influential cryptocurrency, and once it peaks, I'll be rich and I won't have to go on eating bland bread anymore.
Jesus. Why are you eating bread? We actually have a fridge full of food. Is that why you're so skinny?
I'm skinny, and I eat bread because I want to stay humble while I'm on the grind.
Oh my god, you're acting unstable. I think I'm gonna call a doctor.
No, you're acting unstable. DHAR coin will make me the richest man alive.
I hope you will at least buy breakfast with that money.
No, why would I do that? I'm gonna spend my money on cars and watches to show off my wealth while eating dry bread to remind myself to stay humble.
Right. I think you might be watching a bit too much DHAR MANN.
No, he doesn't just tell stories. He changes lives.
Oh my god, I think I need to make a video on him.
What do you mean by video?
Fuck, did I break the fourth wall again? We are back at it again, boys. And if you're wondering why I used to have a mini afro in the intro, that is because the Turkish barber gene is a recessive allele. And last time I tried to cut my own hair, I ended up looking like Joji. The keyword there is used to, because while I shot this video unchronologically, I had to wave my waves goodbye as the barbers opened. So why am I making a video like this? Perhaps the existence of DHAR MANN says something profound and meaningful about our society. Or more accurately, perhaps I just want to watch DHAR MANN videos with my friends and take the piss out of them. Detrimental Man Singh's website describes him as a mission-driven entrepreneur with over 35 million social media followers and the highest viewed inspirational content creator with over 14 billion views. DHAR focuses on developing ideas that have a massive impact and have helped change lives of people all across the globe. His website also chronicles his great struggles from the year 2014 up to 2021. And at 2014 he claims to have been at the rock bottom and had to climb his way up to the top over the last 7 years. Entrepreneurship websites also cite him as a source of inspiration, as he went from $600 to $20 million in a matter of 3 years. But how did he make so much money? I mean, no, genuinely, how did he make that much money? I want to learn about how DHAR MANN made his money more than I want to learn about how Tommy Wiseau made his money. Because, of course, there's an explanation for Tommy Wiseau, he's D.B. Cooper. So, here's a timeline. DHAR was born in 1984 and studied economics and political science at UC Davis, who did not even give me a place on their waiting list. At some point, he dropped out of college because of business reasons, and then went back in to finish his degree in 2007. DHAR MANN's family owns one of the largest cab companies across San Francisco, but they are rated a whopping 1.5 stars out of 5 in Yelp. Does anyone still even use Yelp? A similar trend ensues on the 31 Google reviews left on the business, of which it receives a 1.9 stars out of 5. But this is not their only sin. DHAR MANN claims to be working on real estate by the age of 19, and he had started his own real estate management company in 2007 when he was just 23. What he fails to mention is the fact that this company was most likely funded by his rich parents, who were notorious landlords known for their predatory business schemes that targeted non-English speaking immigrant families. Remember, the wealth does trickle down, only from father to son, of course. DHAR MANN and his family were also sued for a great deal of things, one of which was, of course, fraud. Yes, the family-friendly, child-approved YouTuber was overbilling the price of property renovations to the government in order to pocket the profits once they were done paying off the renovators. And if that is not good enough for you, DHAR MANN was also involved in a hydroponics company, which was also funded by his parents. Hydroponics are the equipment used to grow marijuana, and DHAR MANN was selling them over the early 2010s, and this is where a significant portion of his wealth may have come from. There are also other dreadful business ventures that DHAR MANN has set out on. Take for example LiveGlam. Originally the website was known for selling $100 to $300 courses that would result in giving you these fake diplomas and certificates that were practically worthless. What was worse was the fact that this was aimed at younger teens and followers of contracted social media influencers. Basically, after the backlash, what they did was they changed this entire scheme to be a subscription service which would give you kits of lip glosses and brushes and whatnot. That was when the credit card breach happened. And this breach was unchallenged for months. And this whole thing became another shady footnote in DHAR MANN's already sketchy career. One thing I should also mention is that DHAR MANN does not only scam his consumers, he also scammed his ex-fiancée. You really can't make this shit up. This comes from a tabloid news source, so take it with a grain of salt. But considering DHAR MANN and his family's shady dealings, I wouldn't put this incident past them. According to DHAR MANN's ex-fiancée Lily, DHAR was buying Instagram followers and calling paparazzi to see them. Apparently, compared to her massive wealth, he was broke. But then again, her net worth is 50 million, so even a guy with 10 million would probably seem like a cheapskate to her. So we have established by 2012 DHAR MANN was significantly rich, at least richer than $600, thanks to the exploitative practices of his parents and thanks to his shady business that fed off of people's addiction. We have also established that even after being convicted of fraud, DHAR MANN still went around setting up shady business schemes like that of LiveGlam. So why would he lie on his website and say that he was at a rock bottom around 2014 after his breakup with Lily, which was basically due to his greed? Simple. That is part of what is known as the grind culture. He has to keep telling his followers that if they work hard enough, just like he did, they can also cultivate a net worth of $150 million, which is just a fucking blatant lie. Of course, there's a story of the underdog breaking rich through honest means, but that is often overshadowed by the great number of rich kids who did not struggle as much. One example of this is Elon Musk. Of course, he's a competent team leader and a visionary, but if he didn't have his father's upper-tight minds, would he have had the funding required to start his business? Probably not. Our problem with DHAR MANN or Elon Musk isn't the fact that they are rich. Our problem is the fact that their wealth is brought about by the suffering of the poor. As an advocate of social mobility, I do think that we need to stop lying to the masses and creating bland inspirational quotes, but rather creating actual schemes that will be helping people of disprivileged backgrounds gain a footing in this world. There's still lots of problems with DHAR MANN's content, independent of his shady business dealings. There's a really great channel out there called Accented Cinema that reviews Chinese media. And in their movie titled "Why Are Modern Chinese Movies So Bad?" they lay out a proposition. Chinese blockbusters currently are bad because they try to be too much like Hollywood without a cultural identity. They give out the example of Gong Xiao Dao, which is a Chinese action movie made by and starring Alibaba founder and former missing person Jack Ma as the lead actor. In this movie, Jack Ma goes around beating country-renowned martial artists, which I assume is somewhat of a wish fulfillment for him. And the Accented Cinema argues that this is indeed the problem with modern Chinese movies. They try to be too much like Hollywood because they have the money, but they don't have any good stories to tell. So most of their stories are generic or subpar. I'll be leaving a link for this video in the description below, so I would highly encourage you to check it out. I would like to make the case that DHAR MANN videos are the American equivalent of this phenomena. He has too much money and not enough stories to tell, so his videos tend to be uninteresting, predictable, repetitive, and worst of all, forgettable. And to be able to understand why his videos are so meh, I'll be analyzing DHAR MANN's videos through the lenses of two film theories. The first theory we will look at DHAR MANN videos with is the auteur theory, which suggests that the directors are the sole creators of a media, usually a film or a TV show. The opposite of this theory would be to say that everyone, from the actors to the cinematographers to the people designing the set, all contribute to this one big project. Thus, this theory suggests that the movies or TV shows that we watch are not a culmination of a team's work, but the materialization of one visionary director. This is most likely the case with DHAR MANN Studios. There are so many similar storylines, actors, sets, and probably crew that I have to assume that there is like a streamlined process going through in order to create the same product with different coats of paint. I tried looking for behind the scenes footage of how they make the DHAR MANN videos, but all I could find were links to DHAR MANN's website and some YouTube videos where he just postures in front of a camera talking about his merch, while vaguely hinting at the fact that they shoot a video in the set that he's in. However, we have already established that the things DHAR MANN puts in his website aren't always the most accurate. So I actually doubt that he has a major role during the filming of many of his videos, except appearing in a few of them as a cameo. I have also looked at the respective IMDb pages of DHAR MANN's two directors, and respectively they have so far directed over 50 and 183 videos. And one of them had so little identity that he did not even have a profile picture in the IMDb. Similarly, the other had made some unrated movies in IMDb which I had not seen. But considering the shorts both of these directors made were interchangeable, I do not think these directors, much like the crew, have a big say in what gets done in DHAR MANN Studios. And like we've established, I doubt DHAR MANN is even in the room when the short films are being conceived or when they are being shot. So with certainty we can say that DHAR MANN Studios has no creative identity from its respective directors and its producer, which is DHAR MANN. Hence we cannot call DHAR MANN's short films works of an auteur. But why are his movies so recognizable or unrecognizable depending on who you ask? That is because all of them have the same template, which is also outlined by the extremely academic essay of the renowned media critic Neil Comas. Each video starts with a protagonist and an antagonist. The protagonist is almost always someone who's downtrodden by the world. Perhaps they are poor, physically unattractive, or if they are really unoriginal, they are a nerd. After establishing the unlucky protagonist, the video will stumble about for 2 minutes depicting the antagonist as morally evil and two-dimensional. I mean, my good god, Trump on SNL has more nuance than this bloody supervillain. While all of this happens, the antagonist will bash and humiliate the main character for having the moral high ground. After this, there will be a time jump or an explanatory flashback which will explain why the main characters are the way they are, or show the main character as victorious in the future. And almost always, this narrative jump will be narrated by DHAR MANN, who will be speaking in this obnoxious corporate tone, where he'll be inflating his voice after every bloody syllable, like he is chills, and he's about to tell us number 15, Burger King footlet.
His life starts going uphill, while Kyle's life starts going downhill.
This sudden revelation will be so shocking and life-altering that the antagonist will not only respect the main character, but they will envy them as well. And if the antagonist is real lucky, sometimes the racism will be exorcised out of them, like God striking them down for their sins. They They just stop being racist for some reason. I don't know. The style of videos DHAR MANN specializes are so by the books and safe that they have already cut my cookies and I haven't even baked them. Another way to explain DHAR MANN short films is through the lens of the spectatorship theory. Spectatorship theory analyzes the relationship between spectators and the piece of media that they are consuming. A basic example of this can be like from Toy Story 3. While the mothers in the audience may be connecting with Andy's mother, knowing that their son is growing up and moving out, the teenagers in the audience may be feeling melancholic about their childhood and about their uncertain future. However, the insertion of oneself into the movie is not the only way this theory functions, and there are many other subsects of this theory, like the one of male gaze. Through this theory, we can explore the link between art and the audience that consumes it. But we can also use this theory to create more appealing, soulless corporate products. Like, think of the Avengers Endgame feminist moment, or the gay couple kissing in Star Wars. In those cases, it's less about helping the audience connect with these characters, but more about filling up a diversity quota in order to appear more progressive. Don't get me wrong, progressivism is wonderful, but if you are doing it in order to sell more tickets, that's a bit shit, isn't it? And DHAR MANN's videos obviously fall under this latter category. They boast about the diversity of their actors, which is cool since we don't tend to see non-white actors as leading people in many movies. But it's also very virtue signaling, since it is still DHAR MANN's family that denies those immigrants safe housing in San Francisco. So in conclusion, DHAR MANN or his directors are not authors. They follow a basic story structure that is very easy to produce, and that is why their videos look like they have a style, even when it doesn't. Similarly, they only use diversity not in order to make us think critically about our world. Old lady's racism vanishing after she hears one inspiring speech. But in order to make a quick buck, selling a more appealing corporate product that brands itself as progressive. Alongside being an honest and upstanding citizen, DHAR MANN is also a philanthropist who gives back to his community. He also changes lives through his videos that capture the human condition at such striking detail. Basically, he's the closest living thing we have to Daddy Warbucks from Annie. A little segue, but I really like 1982's Annie because Daddy Warbucks kinda look like Atatürk, and I thought that was kinda amusing because I'm certain I have facial blindness. However, when we examine the facts, DHAR MANN is not a saint by any means. The giveaways he does are often low in value and are paid for by his company in the blink of an eye. For example, his latest video at the time of writing this essay is Chef Kicks Out Homeless Customer, What Happens Next Will Shock You. And it was uploaded yesterday and it already has 4.5 million views. A quick Google search lets us know that on average, each view on a channel with ads gives the channel's creator 18 cents. If we just look at the latest video from yesterday, that would give us already an amount of $810,000. Since he uploads almost daily, we can multiply this amount by 30 to give ourselves 24.3 million per month. Of course, there are actors to be paid, props to be bought and sold, and cheap sets to be assembled. But even if we say that 75% of the profit goes to production, DHAR MANN would still be making $6 million per month. And these $6 million per month do not even take into account the fact that his videos could be gaining more views as the time goes on, or the fact that he can be making money off of merch sales or from other websites like Facebook where he can monetize his content. So compared to this, even the luxury giveaways DHAR MANN does for products over $1,500 are still pocket change to him, and sometimes he will even be a bit more generous, and rather than just give you the product, he'll give you some money, which is about $100. And that's even worse. This man is just profiting off of views by mass manufacturing these shitty products, and he's pretending to be charitable by giving out these very, very small presents back and pretending that they are big. So the economic relief DHAR MANN produces is even worse than Biden's stimulus checks, but do his videos at least give out some profound message?
No.
These messages are so simple that they are taught in kindergarten. It's like that viral Portuguese anti-racism ad. There's a good ending and a wholesome message, and we all wish life was that simple, which simply isn't. We all want to believe that the crops we plant will grow and flourish, while the crops of our enemies will wither and die. But this is rarely the case. I mean, the people ruling the world aren't saints. Yeah, similarly, those who work the hardest rarely tend to see the fruits of their labor. While Jeff Bezos makes over $150,000 per hour, the average man pissing in a bottle and working in his warehouse makes about $15. I guess he must be hustling 10,000 times harder than that man. We need to stop deluding ourselves with these feel-good fairytale narratives that only serve the ones on top. We also need to stop thinking that the rich are charitable for giving us some of their pocket change. There is too much inequality in the world, and we are in dire need of some big change that can help create a more equitable society for all of us. If you are wondering why I'm in a bathtub, don't worry, I don't know the answer either. I suppose I just ran out of interesting places to film this bit at, so I'm in the trusty old bathtub. And I'm also certain that this is how Jean-Paul Marat must have felt during the French Revolution before he was stabbed to death. Even though DHAR MANN is the most popular two-dimensional drama creator, and yes, that is the name of the genre now, he is by no means the only one making this kind of media. At least one other channel, known as White Chronicles, is copying DHAR MANN's formula in order to make money, and this raises a point we're talking about. Shameless as he is, DHAR MANN is still a product of our society, and so is its doppelganger, White Chronicles. And like I had mentioned earlier, DHAR MANN Studios is by no means a place of artistic merit, but rather a factory that is pushing out a new video every day. So are the White Chronicles shamelessly copying and piggybacking off of DHAR MANN's success? I would say so, and to be able to explain the implications of this, we need to look at the place of innovation in our neoliberal late capitalist society. Innovation is the concept of constant improvement through the creation of superior products. Like if brand X releases a wasteful motorbike with bad fuel per mileage, and company Y builds on this and creates a more efficient motorbike that eats less fuel per miles, that is innovation, because Y has taken the groundwork already established by X and has made a superior product, and hence will, theoretically speaking, be getting more money because more people will be buying their product. The advocates of the free market reason that the innovation is the driving force of improvement under capitalism, but this is simply not true. For example, if you say that capitalism and the innovations are the only ways we improve our society, that means we are solely relying on people's greed in order to better our living conditions, which is just very depressing, and it suggests that humans are naturally greedy, which is not always the case, since we are all conditioned by the society we live in, and the society we live in is a very materialistic and greedy one. Similarly, capitalism doesn't always provide innovation. That is why we have trends and decade aesthetics. Take me back to the 1950s when I had no rights. Of course, there are other factors that affect the decade aesthetics, like social change, but innovation, or rather the lack of it, is arguably a great contributor to the way we see different decades and their aesthetics. And this phenomenon does not only occur in clothing. Think of modern cars, superhero movies, video games, and even bloody dating apps. They are all made to look like each other in a sense. Of course, there are outliers like the Tesla truck, Thor Ragnarok, or the absurd amounts of indie video games I've played over the last quarantine, but these are still a few gems in a sea of blandness and normality. In this case, Wit Chronicles highlight the obsession our society has with copying successful brands in order to capitalize off of other established automated systems. For every Amazon, there is a Wish, and for every Adidas, there is an Adidas, Didasa, Dians, Mokba, Sports, Adidas, Abibos, Absit, Adiwar, and some Japanese letters, Stitsa, Abibang, Abibas, some Chinese letters, Adidas, Wandano, Zinnertai, Adamlis, Adadis, Abibas, Adidos, and Aile, which means family in Turkish, so that's kind of cool. And every DHAR MANN video has a poorly disguised clone that still gets hundreds and thousands of views on a daily basis. God, I'm never shooting a video in the bathtub again. You'll have to shoot me. You'll have to like rip off my fingernails. The amount of pain my spine felt in the last half an hour is beyond words. Well guys, we did it. We analyzed how DHAR MANN really changes lives. It is through shady malpractice and automated short films with no souls or artistic merits that he improves his life and his economic condition while worsening the lives of his subordinates and the people who consume his product. He is basically a modern day snake oil salesman, and we need to see him for who he truly is. And on other news, my path to America has finally opened up, and I'll be able to leave this rainy, moisty island for good. All of you conspiracy nuts were right. Biden is, in fact, importing me to America so that I can vote Democrat and bring about communism. That was so bad. Please share this video to fight misinformation, like, comment and subscribe to engage the algorithm, and please press the bell icon if you feel inclined towards watching a mental breakdown over incel-core music next time.
Hello, it is I, the President of the Unspecified Bank. I'm calling to inform you that due to the Suez Canal crisis and some other economical mumbo-jumbo, we're going under. We have to let you go.
Turns out DHAR MANN has oil reserves in an undisclosed area and can hike up the prices for a profit, hence letting his cryptocurrency gain value. While James loses all of his savings and gets evicted, his brother's side hustle finally starts to pay. His life starts going down while his brother starts going up.
Please sir, spare me some change.
Oh my god, James, it's me!
Brother, what happened to you?
The lack of ethics I had allowed me to gain immense amounts of wealth. What happened to you? Why are you begging in the back of our garden?
I got addicted to black tar heroin.
Aren't those the jeans that you ripped purposefully using sandpaper?
Yes, and what about it?
Are you making fun of homeless people?
No, I'm being humbled by the universe.
You want to be humble? Here, have this bland bread.
You've been carrying some bread for the last 2 years?
Yep, just to prove a point.
Stop it, you're supposed to be a two-dimensional character I created in order to make fun of DHAR MANN.
Wait, I'm not real?
No, you dipshit. You're a character I made up for a two-dimensional skit.
How do we get in this video?
I think you just recite a terrible moral to this story, and we just fade to white.
Sheer amounts of corporate greed and no ethics lets you strike rich on YouTube.
Meh.